So very good morning to one and all present here. PCET Nutan family welcomes you all in this career roadmap series that we have planned on today's session, that is career after 12 science. A warm welcome to all of you. I, Aparna Pandey, on behalf of PCET Nutan family, welcome one and all present here for this session. So before we start with the session, let me give you the brief introduction about today's speaker, Mr. Shivanand Mohan. So Shivanand Mohan, he is currently working with L&T. He is heading their learning and training department. If I just describe the all other key parameters that Shivanand is having, he is an alumni from BITS Pilani and IIM. He is having, he is a serial entrepreneur. He's been part of founding team of many startups. He has scored 99.81 percentile in CAT exam, and he's been topping the all national level exams consistently throughout his academic career. Shivanand has trained over 20,000 students over India. It includes all the leading colleges in India as well as in Maharashtra in Pune. He has been he has been having a very great interest or expertise in the areas of education, and its avid interest in solve puzzles and math aptitude. He is having a very strong knowledge of banking and financial services domain with greater focus in capital market space and has extensive experience working with standards and poor ratings. He is an NTSE scholar and Indian National Mathematics Olympiad awardee for consecutive 3 years. He is also recipient of gold medal from University of New South Wales and Australia for the Australian Mathematics Talent Test and silver medalist at Singapore Math Olympiad. He has worked in the National University as well as Shivanand has worked with Government of India. So I would like to welcome Shivanand sir on behalf of PCET Nutan family, and I request him to start with his session and enlighten all the 12 science students how they can decide their career map after 12. Shivanand sir.
Thank you, Aparna ma'am, for that very kind introduction. First of all, good morning to everyone. I thank you all for joining in the morning. Uh, my name is Shivanand. I currently head the learning and development vertical at Larsen and Toubro. I'm right now based out of Chennai. Having done my own engineering as well as MBA, I thought why not share. I kind of go back to my 12th standard. I finished my 12th standard in the year 2006. So there are a lot of things in my mind after finishing my 12th standard, and I didn't know what to do. My dad was an engineer. My elder brother was an engineer. So I just took up engineering because it was a social pressure at that time. I think it continues to be right now. But I thought I would kind of trace back the last 14 years of my journey and help you people understand what you could possibly do post 12 standard without really specifying this is what and this is not what you should do. I'll probably throw up your options and I'll also share some of experiences that I have in the last 14 years post my 12th standard. Today, I am heading a very important function of the training and development team for India's largest construction company called Larsen and Toubro. I work with the power transmission and distribution business over there. Our company has more than 50,000 employees, and my business alone has 5,600 employees in over 30 countries. Now, having trained a lot of these people who are senior executives, people who are managers, general managers, one thing I realized is just academic success alone is not the only metric for success in corporate life. And I would also like to touch upon those aspects of uh, you focusing on building that after your 12th standard. Now, typically after your 12th standard, I assume most of the students participating in this talk are science background students. So typically the options that open up for science background students, The ones which are popular is engineering and medical. So now, if you see the medical fraternity, it takes almost 5.5 years for completing the MBBS, along with one mandatory rural stint where you have to do an internship. Apart from that, then you have to do a master's, something called an MD, they call it, which is a specialization either in dermatology or in surgery or radiology or particular functions. Some people even do something called a super specialty, which takes additional 2 years. So by the time a doctor, young doctor is able to earn money, it is almost 10 years from now. So I'm assuming you're somewhere around 17 or 18 years old when you're finished your 12th standard. So it's a very long journey. It's a very interesting journey, but a very long journey, and it takes a lot of time for you to start making money and supporting your family if that is one of your priorities. But that's a great service to the nation. It's about purpose. So if you are interested in that, that is something which people should have taken biology for that. So if you are a biology student, then you can probably consider that. But remember that you have to spend a very, very long time. And also, even I know a lot of my friends who are right now just set up clinics, who are doctors. And it's not an easy journey because you have to be a very popular doctor and people have to recommend your name. And the kind of starting salary for an MBBS doctor in a hospital like Apollo would only be around 45,000. This is after spending considerable time in the, this is I'm telling for an MBBS doctor, after spending a very long time. Now, we can also take a path of the uh, engineering sciences, which is like computer science, engineering, electrical engineering, electronics engineering, civil engineering, automobile engineering, mechanical engineering. So there are a lot of engineering options which open up. There's now even courses on agriculture sciences and kind of a BTech course on that. So there are a lot of options which open up when you take the engineering stream. Uh, the reason why engineering has become very popular in India is the by the you are now 18. It's a 4 year course, and if you're by 21, 22, you are immediately hitting the ground and starting to be more productive and make some small money, at least to start off with. If you see, typical engineers have a starting salary of at least 20 to 25,000 a month, and some companies even pay 45,000 a month, and some really top notch companies like Amazon and all that, they pay a lot of money. They pay even more than 1 or 1.5 lakhs a month. Some even go till, like, Facebook and Google have hired engineers in IITs for even 1 crore per annum salary, which is close to 7-8 lakhs a month. So, so the opportunity is very huge, and what typically an engineer does is problem solving. So if you're really good in problem solving, if you're able to break down a complex problem into smaller problems, if you're able to kind of analyze things, you're a very logical person, then engineering is preferably a nice area to explore. And the very fact that by the age of 30 you can be a very well set engineer. Most of my friends who have done their engineering earn quite a lot of money. They earn somewhere around 3-4 lakhs a month. So that's a lot of money. And if you are in the right path, if you learn skills on the go, the growth is tremendous, and you are able to get the satisfaction of solving a problem. Like look at companies like L&T, Larsen and Toubro. We build India's largest bridges. We build the Statue of Unity. We are planning to build the statue of Shivaji Maharaj Ji in Bombay. We also build highways. We are going to build the Navi Mumbai airport. We have already built the Mumbai airport, Delhi airport, the Bangalore airport. So in civil engineering, we are the biggest company in India, and most of our company folks have this sense of pride involved in nation building. So engineering is about solving problems and helping build your nation, and especially things like mechanical engineering, civil engineering. Those core engineering disciplines help you build the nation. Now coming to the popular courses, many people say computer science is very popular. Now, computer science is popular because uh, typically the salary levels are pretty high in that. But again, the computer science courses are restricted to certain types of people. Uh, so I will not say computer science is the only thing which you should be doing. In fact, when I see my project engineers, civil and chemical and mechanical and electrical engineers build those fantastic infrastructure for the country, their kind of intelligence, the kind of sense of satisfaction in the job is tremendous, and salaries are also not that bad. It's equally good. The reason why people prefer computer science is they generally get to sit in an AC environment, Saturday, Sunday holiday. So people are a little more relaxed, and people who want to be a little more easygoing can probably take computer science and kind of stuff. But I know people who are in computer science background also working 85, 90 hours a week, where their Saturday, Sundays are also working on writing codes. So when you're kind of understanding what is the discipline, engineering discipline that you need to explore, please keep in mind that it's also your personality which matters a lot. One thing which I never did, or probably nobody told me at my 17 or 18 years of age, is that uh, you have a particular personality. Personality is nothing but a behavioral tendency, and based on your personality you need to find the field of your choice, because it's very important to be strong in what you are good at. If a Sachin Tendulkar picked up a piano and started playing music and comparing himself with an A.R. Rahman, he's not going to do well. Or if a Dhoni was playing piano. Whereas if an A.R. Rahman is going to take the cricket bat and compete with Virat Kohli, A.R. Rahman won't be as successful as what he is today. So it's very important for you people to understand your personality, your thought process. There are lots of psychometric tools which help you understand your personality. Very popular tests like Myers-Briggs, MBTI. You can go to the internet, Google search MBTI test. There are free tests. You can give the test and find out your personality type. And that personality type also has some recommended careers for you. Now, I strongly recommend doing these personality tests because uh, it will help you choose the right field for you. There's no point in actually taking see, for suppose a computer science coder needs to be typically a very focused person who has attention to detail, who's not very talkative, but who's thinking a lot. So typically the writing a code requires 7, 8, 10 hours of focused attention. Now, if you are a person who's very cheerful, very bubbly, and who's very talkative, you should ask yourself if this is the right field for you. It might be, I'm not saying it cannot be, but ask yourself the deeper questions. Don't take computer science just because your friend took it or because everybody is taking it. In India, we have this neighbor policy. We are not bothered about what car we buy or what bike we have. We are more worried about what our neighbor's bike or car is. We have this very dirty habit of comparing ourselves with others. There is an English saying that a beggar is never jealous of the millionaire. A beggar is always jealous of the more successful beggar. So we should kind of shed that attitude. We should have a goal for ourselves. We should have a vision for ourselves. We should set a context in what you want to do. I know 18 or 17 years age is very, very young age for you to understand that kind of thing. But before you take up the discipline, connect with some people who are elder to you. Go to LinkedIn. There is a website called LinkedIn. Go see what people who have done engineering are doing currently. Connect with them. Try to meet them. Try to go converse with them what they did right, what went wrong, what could have been done differently. So finding that kind of information from people elder to you who have just finished their engineering. If you're planning to take up some college, go visit that college. have a look at some of the students studying there, connect with them, find out how their experience was, and then find out what is good about the college, what is the college doing separately, completely different from a typical college. So you need to kind of do that kind of work and research, and also understand your personality to get the right engineering discipline forward. For example, some of the psychometric tests I will recommend to people is you could do a Gallup Strength Finder test. That is one. Gallup, GALLUP, Strength Finder test. Another test you can do is MBTI, Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. Another test which I can recommend to all of you is DISC, DIS. Now we in L&T use all these psychometric tools to assess our managers as well as our staff and our leaders. And if a particular manager is weak in particular area, we then give assignments focused on that. And if somebody is strong in a particular area, we help them, encourage them to grow in that spot. So this psychometric assessment helps getting the best out of people. So at an age of 17 or 18, I really recommend all of you to do some of these personality tests to understand yourself, what you're getting into. Don't just take computer science because 10 other friends of yours do computer science. Maybe you are an awesome chemical engineer. Maybe you are an awesome civil engineer. Maybe you are an awesome mechanical engineer. And very importantly, in today's world, the disciplines have become very interdisciplinary. Like you can't just be a computer science engineer alone. You need to know robotics. You need to know process engineering. You need to know mechatronics. So even a mechanical engineering will need to learn a little bit of coding. A coding guy will need to learn a little bit of other core engineering applications. Only when 2 or 3 engineering applications come together, a real product comes into place. Look at an iPhone. An iPhone is just not computer science. An iPhone is not just electronics. An iPhone is not just mechanical. It's all the disciplines. It's even chemical. It's it's material sciences. The right kind of material you need. If you want to make an iPhone, you need the right kind of material. You need to have the right sort of material for the glass to be made, to make it lightweight, to kind of be careful of the radiation levels. So I think as a person who's just fresh out of 12th standard, you need to look at life in a more holistic way and how each engineering discipline connects with each other. In fact, fields like agriculture are also very interesting nowadays. Like a lot of robotics is being used. There are a lot of Internet of Things applications. A lot of sensors based water sprinklers. It'll automatically cut off how much water has to be sprinkled in the field. There are lots and lots of engineering applications, and internet is an amazing field for you to go and explore. There are lots and lots of YouTube channels which you can explore to understand careers after engineering. Websites like freshersworld.com. Go and check that Freshers World YouTube channel for seeing what are the options after your engineering also. So before you take up your engineering discipline, I request all of you to do a little bit of research on what is your personality type and what is best suited for your career and for your future. Because there is no point in being in the wrong role and then trying to struggle too hard. It will be a cactus grows in desert. Cactus doesn't grow in an ocean, right? Same way, lotus grows in a pond. Lotus won't grow in a desert. So you find out whether you're a lotus or a cactus and go to that environment where you will grow. If you're a cactus, don't worry about the pond. Go to a desert and you'll grow. If you are a lotus, if you are in a desert, move away from the desert and go to a pond. Now there are lots of fantastic things happening in Maharashtra. Maharashtra being the highest GDP state in India, followed by Tamil Nadu. So Maharashtra is doing a fantastic job in a lot of sectors. And I think there are lots of good quality colleges in Maharashtra. And Pune is one city which comes to my mind because Pune has always been a front runner in education across India and especially in Maharashtra. They call it the Oxford of the East, and lots and lots of high quality institutes are available in Pune. So I want you people to consider options possibly in Pune. You can consider outside also. But since I have worked with a lot of colleges, more than 20 colleges in Pune, helping the final year students get jobs, I know the kind of talent and the quality available in Pune, and I strongly recommend you to consider colleges in Pune. Now, when you choose a college, uh, I know your JE and your CAP and all that CET scores matter, but what is more important for you while choosing a college is go and find out what the college is doing separately or differently from a typical college. For example, uh, many colleges will just follow the university pattern and just do basic coaching and then will tell you, give you tests and then pass you. That's it. But there are some very new colleges which are very industry focused. What our current engineers are lacking in India is the skill which German engineers have. What German engineers do is something called apprenticeship. Apprenticeship is, suppose you are a mechanical engineer who's joining the mechanical engineering after 12th standard. In Germany, you will actually go and sit in a Volkswagen or a Mercedes factory and just sit and observe the engineers in action. That kind of thing doesn't happen in India, except couple of colleges which are doing it in a fantastic way, like the Newton College and all that. I'll talk a little more detail about how that college operates. But look at the college's linkage with industry, how deeply they are linked, how many industry based faculty come and teach there. Because the typical problem in Indian education is there is a deep disconnect between the academia in colleges and what's happening in industry. The professors have learned their theories and have got their PhDs, but they are very, very focused on what was taught when they studied their PhD or when they studied their engineering, which should have been 15, 20 years back. Now the world has changed dramatically in the last 24 years. We have got the concept of internet. In last 10 years, we have got the concept of Facebook. In the last 5 years, we have got concept of WhatsApp. So you see technology changing tremendously now. Things like virtual reality, augmented reality, machine learning, data sciences, analytics, all these things are getting popular. So there is a survey by McKinsey, which is the leading consulting firm in the world, saying that 70 to 75% of the jobs that you people will be taking up have not yet even been invented till now. Like, for example, 15 years back, somebody would have not imagined that there is a social media marketing expert in Facebook or Instagram, because Facebook and Instagram itself was not there. Same thing is going to happen with all of you. You are part of that fortunate generation, which is like young India. India has the youngest number of like age group people like you. It's called the demographic dividend. You can go search that in YouTube and Google. Now, this is going to be a very highly productive and very young and aspirational to set of students who will be graduating 5, 6 years or 4, 5 years later. Now, you people are going to have a lot of opportunities. At the same time, you're going to have a lot of challenges. Challenges being the number of Indians born every day is 1 lakh, which means every second more than one Indian is born. And all of these Indians are competing for your jobs. All these Indians are competing for the nice jobs that you want. All these Indians are fighting for the high pay packages that you want. Every second an Indian is born. Now that's a lot of population. That's a lots and lots of people competing for very, very less number of resources. Which is why you need to start thinking colleges, considering colleges which encourage entrepreneurship, encourage things where you don't search a job, you create jobs. And it's happening in across the world. In Berlin, in Germany, in Israel, it is happening. In Tel Aviv, it is happening in America. It's happening in Singapore. Lots and lots of 18, 20-year-old folks are starting companies when they are doing their engineering itself. Please go and check a website called Y Combinator, and you'll know more than 5,000 companies have been incubated by that Y Combinator. And all youngsters like you people, 18, 20, 22, starting new ideas and getting investments for their ideas. So when you consider a college, don't just look into which university or which. I think all those concepts are going to change dramatically. It will not matter much whether you are in Pune University or you are in Baba Ambedkar Technological University, or you are in any other university. What really matters is how quickly you can learn and adapt. The learning agility is the term they call. How quickly you are going to learn things and how quickly you are going to adapt and apply those things is where your future lies in. I graduated my engineering in 2011. I did a 5-year course in Pilani. I did a master's in mathematics as well as a BTech in chemical engineering. Now, so many things have changed, and I'm doing a learning and development. I'm in the HR function now. So my entire career has changed because I understood that over a period of time, understanding people, interacting with people, coaching them and training them is where my strength is. And today I'm enjoying my job totally. So I want you people to also understand that uh, whatever you take, maybe life will throw up more and more challenges as you grow up, and you will learn that maybe something else is a true calling for you. So I want you to think of those parameters when you choose a college, where colleges will be encouraging entrepreneurship. Colleges will encourage you to learn foreign languages. Colleges that will learn you, make you go to the industry, visit the industry 5 or 6 times every month. That kind of linkage with colleges which are located to a lot of manufacturing hubs, those are the places which you need to really consider going forward, because future of education is not ratta type, not mugging and vomiting in the paper like how it was in the past. Future of education is going to be very skill based, very application based, and very apprenticeship based, like how it happens in Germany. Because when I am hiring somebody in my company, I am not I do see a little bit of where they studied and a little bit of the marks and all, but what really seen is how much can they actually apply on the job, how much are their how good is their communication skills, how good do they get along and work in a team. So one thing which you will learn through your journey is also behavioral aspects, that you'll start understanding that not every personality is suited for every type of job. For a very sales sales kind of job, sales and marketing job, you need to be an extrovert, you need to be a little talkative. But for a computer science coder, you can be an introvert, you don't need to talk much and you can still write a code. I'm not saying that an extrovert cannot be a coder, but what I'm trying to say, if suppose somebody is not talkative and very introverted, then they will have struggle in working in sales kind of job. So that's why I'm saying, ask yourself what your personality is. How do you find what your personality is? Through a disc assessment, a Gallup strength finder, or probably a Myers-Briggs type indicator test, which are all available online. Go give yourself a test. In case you need help in assessing that and interpreting, you can reach out to me. I'll help you do that. And I'm a certified disc Gallup as well as MBTI coach. So uh, I also wanted you to think of people like Sundar Pichai or Satya Nadella. Those Sundar Pichai did his engineering in metallurgical sciences, but today he's heading a computer science firm, product firm like Google. Now, what it means is, again coming back to the fact that your engineering discipline matters, but it doesn't really, the branch really doesn't matter as long as your core problem solving skills are intact and very strong. If you're a good problem solver, even if you're in a civil engineer, you can get into computer science. If you're a computer science guy, you can get into civil engineering. Some basic learning is required, but the way the world is operating in the future will be very interdependent and interrelated, with many branches overlapping with each other. So I don't want you people to be too obsessed with a particular discipline. Find out what you are naturally interested in. I was seeing an interview of Sundar Pichai, and he says when his father was working for General Electric, His father used to work and he used to come back to our home. He operated a transistor and he opened up a transistor and found out how the transistor is made of. That kind of interested him in computer, like logic gates, going deeper into electronics and stuff, and then slowly led him to computer science. And if you guys know or don't know, I don't know, your Chrome browser was entirely developed by Sundar Pichai and his team. Like he was the product manager for Chrome browser, and that is why that was a big success. The Android platform and the Chrome browser, and that's why he became the CEO of Google. Similarly, Satya Nadella studied in Manipal. I am sure he also had a non-computer science background, and then he had a passion for cricket actually. And you should watch these CEO interviews, and you'll get a lot of inspiration as to how to take your life forward. So what I would like to tell is, see these people who are very inspirational, and try to understand that you don't need to really be only in computer science to become a computer science expert. You can take any of the disciplines, provided you have an aptitude for it and you are a great problem solver. Uh, and also choosing a college. Look at a college which is giving you the flexibility and freedom, which will nurture your individuality. Many of the colleges kill the creativity of a student by telling this is what you should do, this is what you should do. So look for colleges which kind of identify that, oh, you are a good speaker, okay, let's encourage public speaking. Oh, you are a good musician, let's start a music club. Oh, you are a good dancer, let's encourage your dance and start a dancing club. So you need to be in a college which encourages your true individuality, because that is what will make you successful in a job. Not just 100 marks or 95 marks in your maths, physics, chemistry is going to help you, because I have seen too many people who are getting those 90, 95 marks and 100, but actually miserably failing in a corporate job. That happens because a corporate job has not only technical skills, it also has behavioral components. And also, you should have been in an ecosystem, in an environment where your individuality is encouraged. So please look into these aspects. Also, look at people who are very passionate to make a difference to the world. Get inspiration from people like Steve Jobs, where he was fired from his own company which he started. He was fired 2 times in Apple and then came back again to Apple to make Apple what it is today. So I request you people to go see such inspirational leaders' videos, and understand that life is a very exciting journey ahead. Don't get into a lot of fights and all that. At least I got into a lot of fights and jagdas, and when I look back at 14 years behind, I think I could have avoided a lot of things. So I request you people to become very, very self-managed, self-aware. Your self-awareness will improve through all these psychometric tests, like I mentioned, Gallup, MBTI, or a DISC test. Uh, Spend 1,000, 2,000 rupees. I think these tests cost $20 or something. MBTI is free, but I think a Gallup test costs $20. DISC is also costing somewhere around that. Spend that money to understand yourself. Spend some time on a good coach. Help yourself get mentoring, and when it comes to specifically, I also want to reflect on some of the biology background students. You can consider courses in pharmacy. Pharmacy is even restricted to non-biology students. Is also there, and you can also even consider courses in agricultural sciences and stuff. Now coming to the scope in Pune, Pune being a very vibrant city, having a lot of software companies, as well as is India's very large mechanical engineering hub. Lots and lots of companies like Mercedes, Bridgestone Tires, JCB, Volkswagen, Mahindra. All of these have plants in and around Pune in places like Chakan, and then IT hubs in Hinjawadi and also Kharadi. So Viman Nagar, Kharadi, and all that place. So Pune has a very good mix of core companies as well as software companies, and placing your educational choice in Pune will be a very wise choice, because I always believe that if you want to learn French, it's better to go and spend 1 year in France. The way you learn French will be totally different from learning French over here in India. So, if you want to learn engineering, it's better to go position yourself in a place where engineers are actually there. And where it is in Pune. And there are also areas like Talegaon Industrial Hub, where 200 plus companies are there in tie-up with Maharashtra Industrial Development Corporation. And if you go to the MIDC, a lot of these small and medium enterprises require really, really smart young people to come and learn things and contribute to their companies. The opportunities over there. So, in that context, I would like to really appreciate the Pimpri Chinchwad Educational Trust effort in setting up colleges which are very skill based. They're doing a fantastic job with their placement team, also doing a lot of hard work in getting the best companies on campus, as well as the Nutan College of Engineering and Research. I personally know that college very well because I've been spending some time with them. But I can tell you that I was very inspired by the ideas and the way in which they operate. They operate in a way where there is mandatory industry visits are there. Uh, they are also encouraging German and Japanese language by bringing instructors to the campus itself. Now, though you are all connected on online, so you can anyway log in from your house. Now, also you can also think about the variety of activities that they encourage. So that personally kind of motivates me because I studied in a school called Padma Sheshadri Bal Bhavan. That's the same school where A.R. Rahman is from, and there are many more people. Even Sundar Pichai studied a little bit in our school a few years. What I'm really proud of my school is we were never only mark obsessed. The school encouraged yoga, Veda, Western music, dance. Someone like me could never dance, but they forced me to dance. So they made me swim. I used to be very scared of swimming, but there was a swimming pool in my school. Compulsorily, from the age of 7 or 8, when I was in my third standard, I was pushed into a swimming pool which is 7 feet 6 inches deep. I used to cry, but I used to learn. So the kind of exposure my school gave me is what makes me today what I am. And I think some colleges in Pune, especially the Pimpri Chinchwad group, is doing a fantastic job in doing that kind of ecosystem. That ecosystem is what I would really look for while choosing a college. The of course the top colleges in the country, being the IITs or a BITS Pilani or a VIT, are always there. You can try for those colleges also. But if you're restricting yourself to Pune, and if you're looking for opportunities in Pune, I think you can consider some of the colleges which do this kind of industry connect and uh, and kind of expose people to foreign languages, internships, bringing industry experts to come and teach, not only the professors. So this kind of skill-based focus is what's really going to be making your engineering 4 years of engineering more productive and useful. And yeah, this is what I wanted to really share today. When you look for a college, look for the ecosystem, look for the connect with the industry, look for the kind of industry people who come and speak over there in that college or teach there. These are things which are going to make a big difference. And don't worry, with all the prayers, hopefully Maharashtra government will conduct the uh, CET very soon. The latest news is it should be done by September. It could be earlier also. So let's wait and watch for the government to announce, and do a good job in your CET because it's mandatory for you to get admissions into most of the colleges. So thank you very much, and I open up for some questions.
Thank you, Shivanand sir, for giving the overall enlightenment of what engineering is beyond just curriculum that you have mentioned. So, as many questions that have been reached to me is, what is the need of time that many people want to know that what is the need of time and how to work on that.
Can I understand a little more about that question? Time in the sense, how do you manage your time, or what is the current market demand? What is that?
Market demand.
Okay. See, market demand is always changing, but it is always focused on sharper and cutting edge technology. Let's take a company like my company. We are very cement and brick and mortar type company. We actually work with our dirty hands in the construction sites. Now, with Corona, with a lot of these laborers coming from other parts of India, going back because of safety or because of their own family stress and scared of losing their family, many of them have returned back, and again some have come back to the project sites. So now as a company, we are looking into direction of robotics, how we can automate a lot of processes, how we can be less dependent on human discretion. So everything, even a civil engineering company which traditionally has less technology and more manual input and labor, are also thinking on lines of technology. So the need of the hour is for the students to be fantastic problem solvers and grab the latest technology and learn and skill themselves in the technology. Now for that, you need to always keep looking at websites, YouTube channels, read magazines, listen to podcasts, read books. These are some habits which I've seen generally school children after 18, 17. They very less than 1% of the students have these habits. And what habits these 1% have are only making them leaders. So if you want to really know the need of the hour, read books, listen to news, go to conferences, attend hackathons, and understand what the industry leaders are doing. Follow each and every company in Twitter, LinkedIn. Your social media activity should be very high, not in Facebook or Instagram. It should be on platforms like Twitter and LinkedIn. Go search. The need of the hour is, if you say mechanical engineering, it'll be robotics, mechatronics. That will be the need of the hour. If you take electronics, it's going to become how smaller can you do things. Like now somebody who is telling this phone itself is very big, and can I make it into a watch? Which Apple has done, Apple Watch. Now a lot of things in future, 5 years later, we will say that कौन इतना बड़ा phone carry करेगा? Everything will be in a watch. So electronics people need to work on semiconductor fabrication, chip design, chip verification. Look at countries like South Korea. South Korea is doing a fantastic job in electronics. So you need to know which countries are doing great things, and you need to start tracking those countries, the companies in those countries. What do they do? What are those industry leaders talking about? Write, be part of journals. Start reading them. You need to do it. See, nobody is going to help you in your rescue. You have to participate in your rescue. When it comes to computer science, of course, things like machine learning, artificial intelligence, there's a huge focus on data sciences. There's huge focus on cloud computing. Uh, there's a lot of focus on video conferencing technologies. Like now, I'm sitting in Chennai, 1,000 kilometers away from Pune, but we are interacting real time. It looks like I'm actually with you people, and it's so convenient, right? So these are the technologies you need to focus on, and you can take every field and start researching them. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I also want to inform. Sorry, one important technology which I missed out is electric cars. The government, Nitin Gadkari, honorable minister, has actually announced that electric cars will be compulsory from 2030. 30. That's another 10 years left. So the mechanical engineering students need to start looking at companies like Ather Energy. Go check out a company called Ather, ATHER. These companies are building electric scooters. Then go check out what Elon Musk is doing on electric cars. So it's you need to kind of, I give this example always. We are right now in an age where we are horse riders. And Carl Benz has come with his car technology. You cannot continue to ride horse. You need to learn how to drive a car and move on. If you are going to tell कि मेरा घोड़ा तेज दौड़ता है, मेरा घोड़ा रेस्ट नहीं लेता है, it's all useless because it's a paradigm shift. Your horse riding skills will no longer be useful when everybody is driving a car. So that's the kind of shift we are having. We are having a total paradigm shift. In fact, one of the airlines, which is Turkish Airlines, the CEO long back told His competitor is not Emirates Airlines or Air India or Indigo or any of these international airlines. His competitor is Cisco, the WebEx, the platform in which we are talking right now. Because if WebEx becomes popular, Shivanand will not fly from Chennai to Pune 10 times. Shivanand can log in from Chennai and do it from Chennai. Because of which the airline industry loses out 10 up and down tickets, which Shivanand could have given them. So that's the kind of competition you are facing. So now, how is Turkish Airline react to that kind of a competition? That's how the world is now. It's very interesting right now.
Yeah. So another question is, Shivana, the things which will be remain irrespective of situation in engineering, like suppose the current situation of corona or any pandemic. So with the things which will be persistent irrespective of the situation.
Irrespective of the situation, problem solving skills will remain, emotional intelligence will remain, critical thinking will remain. So how deeply you think, how well do you get into a problem, how well do you dissect a problem, how well do you break down a problem, how well do you solve the individual parts and then sum it up together to present the solution to the customer. These are things which engineers will always continue to do no matter what technology comes. So I think the focus should be on logical reasoning, analytical, improving your aptitude. There are lots and lots of mobile apps. There are lots and lots of technology available on YouTube to improve your aptitude, scholastic ability, like verbal ability. Your communication skills and interpersonal skills will be continuing to make the big difference because everything else can get automated. But you, for example, a doctor's operating on the heart, a doctor performing a surgery on the heart. There are robots now which are capable of doing the robotic heart surgeries. But still, as a relative of the patient or as a patient, you still want to hear about your health from a doctor with that human touch. You don't want a robot to come and tell that you will be fine in another 10 days. That will not look very personal, right? So, that human touch is what really an engineer should really focus on as he or she continues to work on the problem solving skills. Problem solving. In fact, why do you think the best brains in India become Google CEO? Do you know Google CEO is an Indian? Microsoft CEO is an Indian. Adobe CEO is an Indian. IBM CEO is an Indian. All these people are Indians because by nature, by genetics, Indians are extremely great problem solvers. We had people like Aryabhatta, or we had people like Chanakya, and all very, very smart people in India. We were great problem solvers, and we will continue to be great problem solvers. What we really need is marketing skills, confidence, communication skills. These are things which the Westerners are getting an edge over us. And I'm sure with the internet and all these exposure to the global arena, definitely we will be world beaters. We are already becoming world beaters. You can see example of Satya Nadella and Sundar Pichai.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Even
Yeah.
many are asking about if you can just mention in the chat box that whatever the test that you have mentioned, like this.
Sure. So you want me to type that out?
Yeah, actually, even one of our student has done it, but still many requests are there for
Okay,
that. So I request you to please do
there
that.
is a disk is one test, DISC. I've written in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
Then there is MBTI, which is called Myers Briggs Type Indicator. Then you have Gallup Strengths Finder, or it's called Clifton Strengths Finder. There are other tests, but I will recommend these three tests for the 18-year-olds. There are other popular tests in industry like Belbin, Hogan, Harrison, Thompson profiling, but I won't recommend that at an 18-year-old age. That is for more mature individuals whose personality has become more stronger, maybe around 25, 30 years age.
Okay. Thank you. Uh,
Yeah.
With this, we would come to the conclusion of this session. I would like to thank Shivanand sir for giving your time. We'll definitely thank PCET Nutan family for organizing such sessions. PCET Nutan is known for his work for the social cause, not only for the whatever engineering colleges they are having. Apart from that, they always work for the social cause. Nutan family is known for that. So definitely this session is going to help all the students, those who have passed their 12th examination. They may be having some dilemma, what to do, what next, what if engineering, which particular branch should I go for, and all those questions. And basically to know yourself, to find out what exactly you want, find out the match, which colleges are supporting those, say let it be industrial based, skill based, or foreign language, whatever the world is demanding, and what you should adopt for that. So definitely with this session, I expect that all participants will say that after this session, I'm making my decisions. I'm not just a product of my circumstances, but I'm a product of my decisions. So with this, on this note, we'll thank everyone, those who have joined this session. Thank you, Shivanand sir, for your time.
Thank you, Aparna ma'am. I think the way you ended it was very beautiful. You are not a product of your circumstances. Remember, Jeff Bezos, who's the CEO of Amazon, always says, "You are your choices. Whatever choices you took from the birth till now is what is making you. Don't blame others. You are the independent person to take the choice. Your parents might force you, your parents might inspire you, but you actually use your independent, discretionary choice to take the career decisions, which is important for you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you, one and all, for joining the session.
So I can leave the session. Is it done?
You,
Aparna ma'am, can I leave?
yes, sir, you can leave.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very
Yes.
much.
Thank you, one and all.
Thank you. Some